Just first and foremost, a little surprised Winnipeg Jets being up 1-0.
Kipper, great to be with you and Bourne. I would say more surprised by the way the game turned out. I think we know that going into the series, we thought that if the Jets were going to be an underdog and maybe upset the Vegas Golden Knights, that Connor Hellebuyck would have to be superhuman. And although he made some good stops early and was steady for sure, he did not have to be Superman. It was a 17-shot effort against, and the Jets dictated most of the terms of play, which was surprising considering how well Vegas had played both in the season series and during the season as a whole, as they held off the Avalanche and Oilers for first in the West. So more surprised with how the game turned out, but don't let the 5-1 score fool you. I don't think it was a 5-goal cushion. There was an empty netter and a late power play goal in garbage time. But the Jets did deserve to win Game 1. There's no doubt about that, and they dictated the terms of play, which to me was the bigger surprise because of just how well Vegas has played in terms of their defensive zone play, their back pressure, all those things. The Jets kind of neutralized their offensive game in Game 1.
So what are the storylines to watch for as the Jets try to complete the upset of the Vegas Golden Knights? What are some of the subplots here that'll tell us whether things are going well for them or not?
Yeah, Bourne, I think the biggest story of Game 1 for the Jets, twofold. Pierre-Luc Dubois kind of going into beast mode, very reminiscent for Leafs fans from the 2020 bubble series. I thought he was excellent, not just in sparking the Jets offense with the assist on the Connor goal and his goal to beat Brossoit, but physically imposing. Eight hits in the game. He was in the ear of several players and kind of getting under the skin of the opponent. Can that Jets top line continue to perform and produce? Blake Wheeler had a goal and 2 assists in the opener. I thought he was very good on that line. And the Adam Lowry line, guys, was fantastic in sort of keeping Jack Eichel and his group under wraps in Game 1. And obviously Lowry got the 2 late goals, which was a bonus for them. But that line was excellent in the game. And the Jets defense corps, they were disrupted a little bit by the Vegas forecheck, but we expect the Vegas forecheck to be much more up to speed today. I mean, the other storyline for the Jets morning is obviously Nikolai Ehlers and his status. Officially game time decision. I don't expect him to play today, but I did expect him to play Game 1. He is in terms of his legs, he's fine, but still feeling some effects on the MRIs or whatever medical reports they're getting after the Hartman hit that resulted in the suspension. So I don't expect him before Game 3, but if Ehlers can come back, that gives them another dynamic offensive force to go with what they were able to produce in Game 1.
We're talking to Ken Weeb, Sportsnet contributor covering the Winnipeg Jets. Ken, if we were to talk about Winnipeg down the stretch in that turtle race with the Calgary Flames for a playoff spot, and now it appears that things are back on the rails for them, who gets the most credit here? Is it the coaching staff? Is it a couple of individual players? How did this come back and save the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rick Bowness made an important maneuver there, moving Mark Scheifele to the wing on that line with Dubois and Kyle Connor. I mean, these are guys who, want to play together. They had the odd time. You get the power hour shifts coming out of penalty kills and stuff like that. But, Scheifele had to, he's a guy who's played center his whole life. He had to move to the wing. So, some unselfishness there for sure. So the coaching staff, you have to give him credit for that. But in terms of the kind of under the radar story, Adam Lowry's done a great job, guys. We talked all year about how this team hasn't had a captain after Blake Wheeler was stripped in the offseason. They've had the 3-man alternate system with Lowry, Scheifele, and Morrissey, and all of them have done their part at times. But I think Adam Lowry went through a tough stretch, Kipper, where he had 35 games without a goal. And as a third-line guy, you're expected to produce some offense, even though your primary job is to check against the opposition's best. But he's been great for them. He had that great fight with Ryan Reeves in Game 81. Just a real heart and soul kind of leader. I thought he's done a nice job there. But I think it's more of the cumulative effort. The Jets came off that road trip. They had a 5-game homestand. They knew they had to get things going. And, even though they had the bad loss to the Calgary Flames, they responded super well and, really got the things going. But, I mean, you can't ignore what Connor Hellebuyck did down the stretch, guys. 13 starts in a row. He was absolutely fantastic when his team needed him most. And without Connor Hellebuyck, the Jets probably lose out in the Turtle Derby to either Calgary or Nashville. But, yeah, I mean, they're feeling good about themselves now. Can they sustain it? I mean, that's the big thing. I would always say this. The cautionary tale for the Jets, they don't have to look very far. They were very dominant in Game 1 against the Vegas Golden Knights in 2018 of the Western Conference Final. I know the score was only 4-2, but they held the control of that game, and they never had a sniff the rest of the series. So I would say the Jets are much better prepared for this time around as they try to obviously move on from the first round, but I don't expect it to be a cakewalk here. I mean, Vegas has been too good for too long, and they showed over the course of the season that despite injuries and having to use 5 different goalies, that they are still, one of the best teams in the NHL, and they finished as the best team in the West.